Good morning, everybody. Meteorologist Jack Griffin in the studio here with just a little bit more in the way of a severe thunderstorm warning update. We have a new warning that has been issued for Champaign County, the northern half of the county, until 11:30 this morning. So we've got about 31 more minutes of that. It's for radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch in diameter hail, and it is moving extremely slow to the east at around 15 miles an hour. You'll see that Storm Tracker Doppler has remained very active this morning. That storm has just been crawling through portions of Ford County, McLean County, northeastern portions of Piatt County and DeWitt counties, and the northern portion of Champaign County. So it has been a very active morning, to say the least, with these storms. As these have been coming on through, they have a prolific amount of lightning with them. We'll turn those on really fast, and you'll see that the storm is just stationary. It's just slowly crawling to the south, and so we have a new warning as a result of some gusty winds that the radar is being picked up on. We have more storms that are off to our west, too. In fact, kind of the wide view here, you've got more storms that go and arc back into Iowa, as well as extreme northeastern portions of Missouri. So these storms are going to be pretty active today, with refiring and kind of slowly moving through the area. So as a result of that, a lot of heavy rain is going to be expected. We'll go back to our warning area. And again, if you are just tuning in, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning for Champaign County. Radar indicated 60-mile-per-hour winds, 1-inch in diameter hail, and that does go until 11:30. Now, I'm going to turn on a couple of things here. Number one is our hail size here. I'm going to turn this to now. And so we've got some small hail that's being picked up in between Fisher, Rantoul, Mahomet, kind of right over the Condit area there. That is basically between 136, 47, and I-57, kind of right in that location. Again, this has been very slowly moving, and you can kind of tell that we have every once in a while it pulses up, comes back down, pulses up, comes back down. And so we also have had, too, our flash flood warnings because of the amount of rain that we've seen in the area. I'm going to turn it to our precipitation and see what we have in terms of that. It's been a very, very rainy, humid air mass in place, and as a result of that, it's just been coming down like crazy. Here we go with this. Observe precipitation accumulation. This will take a second to load in. So turn these off really fast. Okay, so here we go. We've got our own meteorologist, Jacob Dickey. He's in Gibson City. He's been driving around his hometown and really has been noticing that the town is essentially underwater right now. So here we go with the amount of rain. This is radar estimated rainfall. And let's go to kind of just to the southeast of Gibson City, kind of where that really dark orange is there. And that is going to pop up as radar estimated 6.5 inches of rain. I don't think it'd be 6.5, but easily over 4 inches for sure. So we have an extremely, extremely localized, very heavy rain event with these storms that are just training over and over in the same spot. So the southeastern or the southwestern corner of Ford County going into northern parts of Champaign County have extremely high amounts of rain from these storms here. This is northern Champaign County, right there in that kind of same area, about 5.6 as radar estimated. So we're talking probably between 4 and 5 inches easily there. Kind of going down a little bit farther to the south, let's go, that's right by just off to the west of Rantoul along 136 is about 3 inches there of radar estimated rainfall. And so it does pick up here drastically. And in fact, if you have a rain gauge, please send us pictures of that as well as your measurement to our social media pages. Or if you have the WCI3 weather app, download that and you can send a picture directly from the app that goes right to our email, and you can get a better idea there. We do have some high amounts that are just off to the south of there. We'll go into kind of the let's zoom in here, kind of just off to the west of Thomasboro. Let's check that area out there too. We've got coming in at around 4 inches of radar estimated rainfall. So you'll notice how quickly this all tapers off. As we kind of scoot down a little bit more to our south, you'll see that, for example, right in downtown Champaign, it's not going to be as much. We've had the rain from earlier this morning coming in at around 1/2 of an inch of radar estimated rainfall, but that's compared to what could be some very high amounts just off to the southeast of Gibson City. In fact, in Gibson City itself, we'd be looking at, so it shows up as over 4.5 inches, so easily 4 inches likely possible in Gibson City, kind of in and around the area there. So it is just coming down, and it's coming down hard, and it is not moving. There's been flash flood warnings as a result of that in this area, and those go until 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll go back, though, to our radar, and you'll see that when it loads up here, we've got the very high reflectivity values, the really bright reds, and even those pinks right by the Fisher area, just showing that we've got a tremendous amount of heavy rain falling within this area still. And this would be an example of what's called training. Training thunderstorms have been notorious for dropping a lot of rain in the area over a very short amount of time, and that's exactly what we have here. The train, think about a real train. It goes down the track, and it takes a long time for the train to pass over that individual location on the track because the train is so long, and that's what we have here. The storms, while you're noticing there's movement with them, they kind of move off to the east, but more keep on really developing off to the west, and so it essentially looks like it's stationary, even though there is movement within the storm. We have more storms that are popping up across McLean County, back out of the viewing area towards Havana, going to Macomb, and those storms even do kind of extend back off to the west across extreme northern Missouri and Iowa. So what this means for us here, well, let's take a look at our future track. And it's done a good job of picking up that storms have been in the area, but it has them significantly weaker at this point, which is not happening right now. So our models may have started off okay. It may not be doing a very good job anymore of showing us what's expected. In fact, as we go back to that kind of wide view here of our Storm Tracker Doppler, you'll notice that these storms that are coming in from Iowa, they're not weakening. They're in fact kind of strengthening, as well as also increasing in number too. So it's going to be a active afternoon for us for sure, we're thinking, with these storms. We may not have a bunch of warnings today. We do have a marginal risk and a slight risk for the area, and this will likely begin to change. We have our new update with the Storm Prediction Center's outlook. That comes in at 11:30, so we might actually have an update to that to where it may look a little bit different. We'll have to kind of wait and see, but as of right now, we are looking at things to be active, but not anything crazy with a bunch of widespread warnings or anything like that. I'm just checking a few things here behind the scenes. So that's what I'm doing right now. Just looking over a couple things here. All right, so we do have a official, well, it's Jacob Dickey, a official report from Gibson City, 6 inches in his rain gauge, and it's overflowing. So this will be within the past 24 hours, and so it's coming down in the area. Just checking a few things here. I'm just checking to make sure that I've got information coming on through, because it makes it sound like easy with a bunch of widespread warnings or anything. All right, good. Well, I was getting some false negatives here with the Facebook Live. I thought for a second I didn't have any signal, so I apologize for that. That's what I was just checking to make sure it actually was working. So here is our view from Champaign. This has been looking off to our north. what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the camera and see if we can see anything else out of this. I went up to the top of the parking deck downtown Champaign and came back right before the warning popped up. And so it's... All right, here we go. This is Gibson City. So Gibson City is an area that has had a lot of rain. Like I said, we've seen probably in the past 24 hours in Gibson City over 6 inches of rain. And this is what it looks like on our Gibson Area Hospital and Health Services weather camera on our Flooring America iNet. We've got a lot of heavy rain there. You can see in the baseball field that there's ponding on the roadways there. And so the rain continues to fall in that location. We've got, let me check a couple more things here. Again, a lot of lightning with this storm too. And again, we're kind of watching here to see what ends up happening with our storms. We're going to go back to that radar estimated rainfall because that's been very impressive here. Again, the warning that we have continues until 11:30, so it goes for another 20 minutes. I'm going to turn everything off, and what I'm going to show will be our amount of rain again, because that has been just a high amount here of rain. I'm going to turn off that warning really quickly here. And so, again, kind of right there on the Ford-Champaign County line, radar estimated amounts coming in at about 6.5 inches. Now, based on what meteorologist Jacob Dickey has seen at his house with his rain gauge, these are, radar estimations are always estimates, so they're never exactly totally right. But these might be more accurate than is typically the case. Sometimes these overdo it by about an inch or so. We actually might be a lot closer to those amounts. Again, if you've got any rain gauge pictures or you're able to take a measurement, let us know in our social media. Email us, go to the WCI3 weather app. Especially, we want to make sure that everyone does the turn around, don't drown. We really do not want anyone driving through this area, especially with the underwater roads that might be in rural areas and maybe also even in the Gibson City area too. Hail size, not very big. We've got kind of a little core there, kind of right over the Thomasboro area, and that's approaching I-57. We got another one by Fisher. So these kind of fade in and out with time. And winds, we'll take a look at those. We've got some gusty winds within those too, potentially kind of by the Royal area there. You've got a little bit of some winds there with it, with the darker greens and or the lighter greens and the darker reds. And so we're just going to kind of keep on watching things here with our storms. Technically, this is still a baseline severe thunderstorm warning with the 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch in diameter hail. The problem is going to be, though, is that we think that, and yeah, check this out. So as we've gone into literally the past couple of radar frames right there at the very end, you'll notice just how fast the number of cells have popped up. And you've got the dark reds and even some of the pinks showing up very quickly. So, I mean, it makes sense. We've got a heat advisory out in place. This heat advisory goes until 7 o'clock. We have extremely high dew point values here. It's very warm, so there's a ton of energy to work with these storms. And also, if you may recall, a lot of these storms that have been coming through the state of Illinois, they've been staying off to our north. So the area down here is relatively untouched compared to what's been seen across the Chicagoland area and Wisconsin over the past couple days. So it's going to be an interesting event for sure today to see what ends up happening. Like I said earlier, do we have a bunch of warnings throughout the day? It's probably not looking to be that way. We'll have some warnings here and there for sure, but I don't think it's going to be severe thunderstorm warnings all day for hours and hours and hours on end. But what we do anticipate will likely be multiple rounds of storms, and we end up getting some very healthy rainfall amounts back into the area. Let me go and take a look at the drought monitor. The drought monitor came out today. The latest information came out today, and even though we've seen a ton of rain over the end of June and into July, then the rest of the month was pretty dry, especially the past about 2 weeks or so. As a result of that, we have dry conditions that have popped back up in the drought monitor, And it's so new, I haven't even changed the banner title there. It says August 5th. It did come out today. But the thing about the drought monitor, the data that comes out of it is every Tuesday. So it gets published on a Thursday, but the data is up until Tuesday. So it's a few days old technically, even though this is the most recent one. But we do expect in these areas, these have also been the areas that we've seen all this rain. So we'll likely get a new one when it comes out next Thursday. It'll be back to being normal again. But you've got more cells back across McLean County, Aerosmith, Lexington, Hudson, Danvers, and then into Macon or into Logan County. More cells there, just off to the west of the radar, and then you've got more of them back off to the southwest of Peoria, in between Peoria and Havana, and extending back into Iowa. Again, the reason why I keep on going back over to that region and talking about it is because if you kind of look now, this is all kind of trying to connect. And if that ends up being the case, we may have a long time here of some very heavy rain. If you'll notice, and I'll go back to the warning, you'll notice that the warning has now been trimmed a little bit. So it's not the straight across rectangle like it was before. Still, though, does go for another 15 more minutes for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1 inch in diameter hail. That's radar indicated. And we've got the lightning with them, too. When I went up to the top of the parking garage in downtown Champaign, I could see flashes of lightning pretty much constantly. But it was still technically just north of downtown. In fact, as you look at downtown, you'll notice the heaviest rain is really to the north of I-74. So it barely gets into town itself. Rain showers for sure, but most of this storm is, as you can tell, just to the north and kind of northeast of town. We'll go back to our hail sizes here. Hail size remains kind of right over the Fisher area. The spot that was between Thomasboro and Rantoul has now kind of faded away. It looked a little bit better a little bit ago. That has now kind of faded off. The Fisher one is still there. Let me check a few more things here. Yep, so they're just continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for the next 15 minutes. Winds, we've got some winds here. Even some winds are going back towards the west, back toward the radar in Lincoln. So there could be some gusty winds there. Maybe a little bit of some rotation at times, but it's been pretty much just in one direction. We do have a new flash flood warning that's in place now for Champaign and DeWitt, Piatt counties until 2:15. Let me get those warnings on here. I'm going to turn a few things off and make it a little bit easier to see. One second here. There we go. All right, so we've got our flash flood warnings that are in place now. The flash flood warning has now been extended across extreme, that little corner of DeWitt County, northern Piatt County, and then into Champaign County until 2:15. The other one that we had for northern Champaign County back into McLean County and Ford County, that one goes until 1 o'clock. But we've got basically this one area here is giving us quite the issue with the storms not moving. You've got heavy rain because of all the moisture in the air. You've got a tremendous rainfall rate too. These are coming down at 2 inches or more per hour rainfall rates. And so we got a little bit of an issue here with our storms. Do not drive in areas that are covered with our roadways. Do not go the speed limit. You got to go under the speed limit. Visibility is going to be severely reduced in these areas. And just need to be sure that you're taking things safe if you happen to be out there at this time. Again, storms are doing what we call training. They are training over the same areas over and over again. You can tell that they essentially they're moving, but they're not moving. The storms are moving off to the east, but we have more and more redevelopment over the same areas, and so it just will not leave. And as a result of that, that's why we have these high rainfall amounts. The overall reflectivity looks like it's kind of pulsing up and down at times. So we had a warning earlier on in Ford and portions of Iroquois County, then it kind of pulsed down, and then it pulsed back up again. That had our warning now for Champaign County, and now it's probably back on its way down again. But there's so much moisture to work with, and now what these storms are doing is essentially kind of making themselves. We might see areas or downtime where we have no warnings. We get another warning that pops back up again. That goes for about a half hour, and then it comes back down. That might kind of how it ends up being here for the day today. These storms just popping up here, it seems like left and right along some leftover boundaries that have been left over from the previous few days of storms. And as you'll notice, most of the area to the north has seen the activity for the past few days, and now they don't. So it's a little bit worked over there in that portion of the atmosphere, in that portion of the Midwest. Our area has been pretty untouched recently over the past few days. The storms, we kind of think they're going to come back down, they're going to come back down, and then they kind of stay up to the north of our area. It was actually very hard for them to travel south of I-80, but today it looks like it's definitely our turn with these storms. So, just checking a few things here. We've got another 9 minutes left of our warning. Our hail size now moving over and past the Fisher area a little bit more. It's still a very small little area. Our future track, let's see if that has changed anything. Looks like city crews are begging people to stay home. That's what Jacob is saying in this chat service that I have access to. City crews are begging people to stay home. Calls coming in from the county, too, for unknown reasons. So we've got just heavy amounts of rain in the area. This future track, we get updates on it, and it looks like it's still the same as of now. So also was doing a good job, now not necessarily handling things in the best way. Sometimes the Storm Prediction Center outlook that comes out at 11:30 gets kicked out a little earlier. Let's see if that's the case. Looks to be the same as of right now. So we'll keep you up to date on that. Probably by the midday show for sure, we will have the newest information on that. But let's go back to our precipitation rates here. And our precipitation rates have been falling down at about 2 inches or more per hour. Turn some things off here. Go back down to our observed precipitation accumulation. So you'll notice now that this little area right here, Gibson City, the southwestern portion of Ford County, going southeast into north central Champaign County, that area that is that brown color is looking to be increasing in size. In fact, I can actually go back and, I can go back in time and show you that it's really began to get heavy here for the past about hour or so, maybe even a little bit less than that. Let's go now to that spot, going at 6.6 inches now. So it even kicks up a little bit higher as we go more and more into the late morning hours, early afternoon. So 6.6 is the highest amount that we've seen as of right now. Keep on checking. Okay, a 7. So this is dangerous. That's why we have the flash flood warnings that are in place in this portion of the viewing area for Ford and Iroquois County, or in Champaign County. Let me see. Jacob just texted me here. I'm going to text him back here one moment. So we're always multitasking here in the studio. I've really just kind of gone full screen with this just to give you guys the most easy view to kind of look at things. They've also been doing some training back here, and so it's been a little cramped here in the studio. But let me just text him back really quickly here. Just texted Jacob back. Okay. We've got another 6 minutes left of our warning. This warning is for the northern half or so of Champaign County. That does go until 11:30. So 5 minutes now left over with it. It remains a baseline severe thunderstorm warning with your 1-inch in diameter hail and also your 60-mile-per-hour winds. The winds themselves sometimes have not been making it down to the ground. It looks kind of impressive sometimes on the radar, but it may not be going all the way down to the ground. With 60-mile-per-hour winds, gusty winds for sure, between 30 and 50 miles an hour. Easily possible here, but we are still looking at that. Sorry, I just got a new notification. Quarter-size hail southwest of Gibson City right now. So let's go to the hail core, and you'll see that we got this little area that's kind of pulsed back up again within the past couple minutes. That didn't exist there for a while. And that is a new cell that's popped back up just off to the southwest of Gibson City. What means is that the storms that we have that are bubbling up right there, kind of in this explosive growth area, right in here, they are able to tap into some of the outflow boundaries that are in place from the storms. All storms have wind that comes out of them. They shoot away from them. And if you've got some storms that the winds shoot out of them, you can form more storms because it's so warm and humid. It kind of acts like a little baby cold front. And so these boundaries may be the reason why we've had a lot of these storms just begin to pulse back up again very quickly. And so in this area here, we've got more storms that begin to be very impressive in nature. There's still one warning right now, but as of right now, we've got this area that's really seeing a lot of explosive development. And then, on the other side of things, you've got pretty quiet down here. In fact, what I'll do is let me go to the Skycam. We'll check out Gibson City again. So Gibson City kind of in between cells as of this point. What I will do is I'm going to change it to our Mattoon camera right now. So when that pops up, oh great, let's try. Oh, there we go. There's Mattoon right now. So Mattoon is totally sunny right now. This is looking off to the west. Totally sunny right now. This is our view from Charleston, and Charleston's kind of seeing some of the clouds that are in place from our storms up in the northern part of the area, but still. It's kind of cool how we've got a big change in our viewing area, even though it's not that far of a difference. Let's go with our temperatures. We'll show the temperatures right now. You'll see that it's almost 90 in Effingham and Taylorville. You've got the 70s in places that are dealing with the rain showers and the storms. Our dew points remain very high also. Our dew points are high everywhere, even though they're lower where it's raining. It's because the temperature is lower there, and that would actually match the actual temperature. But Taylorville, we still have some very high numbers showing up from there, and so our heat index values are going to be kind of all over the place. Let me get that. Our heat index values are going to be all over the place because it feels already like 102 in Taylorville, 97 in Effingham, but it feels still like the 70s where it's raining. So where it is raining and storming, it's obviously much cooler. Where it's not, because we don't have very much going on in the southern kind of 2/3 of the viewing area, it is much, much hotter and still very humid there. We have 1 more minute left of our warning. What I'm going to do here is just make sure that it gets expired and goes away. What I will then do is I will sign off. All right, they just expired the warning, so that's going to be coming off here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get in contact with our own meteorologist Jacob Dickey. I will see what he has to say. I will then prepare stuff for the noon newscast, and then if we have any more things that pop up, we'll make sure to post again on social media like we always do. and we'll go from there. So again, we've got very heavy rain that's falling. Currently, no warnings out there severe thunderstorm-wise. We have flash flood warnings for portions of Champaign County, Ford County that go into the afternoon. We've got rainfall amounts that have been estimated by radar to be over 6 inches. So we've got some very high amounts of rainfall that have fallen. And so what we're going to do is we're going to, like I said, cut things here. We're going to come on TV with all the latest. And if we have any more warnings, we'll be sure to bring them to you back on social media and potentially on TV should it warrant them over the next couple hours. Have a good one and stay safe out there. And most importantly, please turn around, don't drown. Do not drive through some of these flooded areas.